You win this battle, man, I'll soon be dead. I'll glue your face to my dick so I can fuck with your head. I got metaphors coming through my pores. You probably never been in a battle before, so I hope you realize your mistake. There ain't no party, got some candles, this won't be a piece of cake. Put your face.
Folks, welcome to the Before Hours podcast, an internet radio phenomenon hosted by an occasional morning person. I ask the most interesting people I know about their sleep, routine, life, love, stress, setbacks, and whatever else comes to mind. If you want to talk to us, you may do so. Our email is the Before Hours podcast at gmail.com. Say whatever you want and I'll read it on the air. But for now, we have comedian, the goofball of Comedy Fight Club. And I'm going to go ahead and say it, Patrick, a good friend, Patrick Haggerty. How are you?
I'm good. Throbbing Bobby Sheehan.
Throbbing Bobby Sheehan, dude. That's me. I
Yeah.
have like various nicknames that people give me, but yours might be my favorite.
Yeah, Throbbing Bobby. You know why I call you that?
No.
It's because you have a big throbbing cock.
Oh, you are seriously misinformed. Well, throbbing. I will give throbbing. It is throbbing.
Yeah, I've noticed.
You have noticed.
I can see the blood pulsating.
You know, I got what may be my most favorite compliment that I've ever received. And this is going to sound weird that I'm telling a compliment that I received to me, to the listeners, but it happened and I'm still confused by it, which is I did an open mic, not to brag. And the host afterwards, just riffing out off of me, said, "Bobby, you had quite an impressive bulge up here." And I thought he was just doing what a lot of us men comics do, which is like make gay jokes to each other.
Yeah.
But then I looked to the audience, and it was a mixture of comedians and non-comedians and men and women, and there seemed to be a nodding of agreement. Now, I've been very clear on this podcast that I have a humble penis.
Right.
Okay, nothing to write home about, but it's also not medically small. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I was confused. I'm like, why did I in this moment have an impressive bulge? And I did jack off 2 hours before I was on that stage.
So that's the money. That's
And I usually, when I jerk off in the middle of the day, I take a shower just because I feel dirty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't. So now is my new stand-up ritual jerk off exactly 2 hours before I go on stage and don't shower.
Don't shower. Right.
That might be the way to go.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
I brought you on. I wanted to ask your opinion.
Sure. I agree with the showering too, because a lot of times I'll use hand lotion and washing your hands with just hand soap after hand lotion doesn't really work, because it's like it's kind of got the same viscosity as the hand soap, so it just doesn't come off.
I want to go on record, and some people already know this about me. I think if they've listened to Locker Room Talk or if they've listened to the Super Seniors, I've done a lot of podcasts.
Sure. Yeah.
But if they've listened to either of those, they might know that I'm a on the record dry jacker.
Ah, okay.
I don't use lotion. I put lotion on right now because my hands were cold from being outside in the cold.
So your hands are soft enough as it is. Maybe that's why.
And yeah, but maybe my penis is all dry and scaly.
You're
I don't know.
right. Yeah, and it's just by comparison, your hands are soft because of your scaly penis.
This is a podcast where we talk about our morning routines in general. But I'm gonna go ahead and ask it, Patrick. Do you have a jerk off routine?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm like, I kind of, like nuzzle up with my penis, like give it a nice, how's it going? And then eventually I'm like, all right, now it's time to like do the jerk.
Okay, so you give yourself a little bit of foreplay.
Yeah.
You're a romantic.
I'm a romantic when it comes to jerking off for sure.
Have you ever jerked off into a sock before?
Let me think.
I think it's a myth.
Yeah, not into a sock, because part of that would involve the way I think of it is the jerking motion with a sock in between your hand and your penis, which would be really painful.
Painful.
Like, yeah.
Strange.
Yeah, like Bernie, and remember when you as a kid you playing on in like a room with a carpet and you fall down and you get rug burn on your knees. You'd be getting that on your penis,
Yeah.
And no thanks.
No thanks
to that.
Well, statistically, fetish theory?
I haven't heard it.
Fetish theory is the idea that if you can conceive of something being somebody's fetish, then statistically it is somebody's fetish.
Oh, yeah.
Which means somebody wants rug burn on their penis out there.
Right. Yeah. And it is like, so I ejaculate into like tissue or toilet paper usually when I jerk off, that is. And so jerking off when there's kind of something blocking the way, it has its own allure. But then the sock is nice, I would assume, because it's kind of an open tube.
You come anywhere.
You just boom. You just like you just do it, and it's off into open air while still being contained into the sock.
Yeah.
So I do get the sock.
Might have to try it when I get home.
Yeah, right. Because whenever I have the opportunity to be like, oh yeah, just going, it just has the opportunity to like free space ejaculate.
Free space ejaculate.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like when you're playing bingo.
Right.
And you got to ejaculate to spell bingo, but you do the free space first.
That's in the middle. Yeah.
In the middle.
Everyone gets ejaculate. Yeah.
You know what? I feel like I wouldn't want to waste a sock too.
Right.
I don't want to waste a sock, which means I don't want to use a new sock every time. But I also don't want to have the jerk off sock because that to me seems disgusting.
Right. Or like you said, you don't want to use a new sock, but you also don't want to use an old sock.
You don't want to use an old sock.
Yeah.
And you can't use a sock with holes in it. It defeats the whole purpose.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I'm grossed out by the idea of a handkerchief. I've been running this by people because I remember my friend, his dad, he was an old man from Texas. And so he did like everything like a little bit different. I'm from upstate New York. So it's like a different culture. And so he's the only person I've seen outside of a movie to pull out what he dubbed a hanky. So you pull it out from his breast pocket, sneeze into it or blow his nose into it, and then put it. I'm like, whatever you're mucusing into, if you could use mucus as a verb, it has to be disposable. Like the next move should be you're putting that in the garbage, not you're putting it back on your person.
Almost entirely I agree. Other than if you're like, you've just been sneezing all fucking day and you'd be using an entire box of tissues unless you got to reuse a couple times. But I agree. You can't be reusing throughout the entire day. You use it maybe 4 times, this particular tissue, and then it's got to go in the garbage. So that it's like drenched in snot, or like, you'd have to be washing it all day. This thing, like getting a new one, like babies used to wear reusable diapers.
Oh, that's wild to me.
Yeah.
Speaking of babies, you're a proud uncle.
I am.
And I'm a little bit jealous, to be honest, because I'm an only child. So I have no opportunity to be an uncle. I mean, I could marry a woman that has siblings.
Right.
And then I could be like a uncle-in-law in that
Uncle,
sense. But
uncle by marriage, but you'd still be an uncle because my uncle's by marriage. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's my uncle.
Yeah.
So, but there is like almost like this, like, oh, hey, buddy, what's up? Like that's like the noogie giver is the uncle by marriage.
Yeah.
So you can be a noogie giver.
Ooh,
that'd be nice.
It does sound nice. Yeah. I don't
and the verb form of noogie giver if you want.
No. Hell yeah, dude. So how many siblings do you have?
I have 4. Oh, I'm the youngest of 5.
The youngest? Oh, you're the baby.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What's being the baby like?
Oh, it was good. It was I had friends at home all the time. Like there was always someone to hang out with. But it also made it so that I didn't feel the need to get friends as a child. I was like, I don't need friends. I have all my friends at home. And then they all went away to college, so it had its drawbacks as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the what are the ages roughly?
It goes 1980, 82, 85, 88, 91.
91, that's you.
Yeah.
Dude, I was born in 90. Hell yeah. You're the baby. So the babies get spoiled, right? Did you feel spoiled?
A little bit. It also, the rules change. So the rules I heard about when they were kids were like, you can't do this and you can't watch that. Those rules are out the window.
The parents, I imagine, just get tired. And they're like, all right.
Well, and eventually, my oldest brother's 11 years older than me. So for much of it, it's like, he can take care of our son now. Like he's 15 and he's 15 and he's 4. He can chill with him. They can look after each other now.
Oh, dude, 15 and 4. So like, that's crazy. He saw you grow up.
Yeah.
Is there this thing where he'll always see you as being like a little boy? Does he value you as an adult now? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think now he does. Yeah. It took a while, right? It takes a while before, but even there's still some level of what a scamp.
Yeah, I do feel that like I feel so. I don't have any siblings, so I don't have any younger siblings, of course, but I have friends that have younger siblings, and because I only see them intermediately now. you know? So now they're, you know, old enough to drink and stuff, but it's like, I'm like, no, that's a little kid though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which I imagine is how my parents at some level feel about me.
Yeah.
Like they're proud of me and they believe in like the adult things that I do. But like at the end of the day, they did like change my diaper and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, I think it's a balance because now I'm interacting with my parents as adults, you know, like I'm an adult and then they're adults. So in many ways, we have conversations that are much more in depth than they used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, then also they say, "Oh, hey, Pat." Like they call me by my childhood nickname.
Oh, Pat.
Yeah,
I love that, dude. It's like Bam Bam.
Yeah, right.
And
Pretty similar.
I
Yeah.
imagine you were just as destructive as Bam Bam.
I had
too.
similar tendencies for sure to Bam Bam.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of Bam Bam stuff did you get into? It sounds worse than what it actually is.
Yeah.
It sounds like a crime. Euphemism for a crime. It's not. I promise it's not.
No,
YouTube.
it's Bam Bam from the Flintstones. Yeah. But we were watching family videos, right, home videos recently, and it's stuff that I do not remember, like when I was 2 years old, and I was just sprinting into circles in around the house and doing like kind of front flips as a 2-year-old. And I was really impressed with my athleticism.
Yeah, dude, as a child. Well, you're very, I recently saw you do a flip on stage.
Yeah.
I won't give away the reason why for people that haven't watched it, but yeah, you're very, as far as comedians go, you're very athletic.
Yeah.
There's a lot, you've incorporated calisthenics in various ways. Yeah.
If it's there, you know, you got to use what you got. You got to use what you got.
Yeah. So, but you are a sports guy too.
Definitely.
And I say it that way because I feel like most men are sports guys, but most comedians are not sports guys.
Right.
So that's sort of interesting.
Yeah. I will say I started, or not started, but I did a lot of improv when I was younger, and they were probably even. At one point, it was even how much I was doing improv and stand up.
Okay.
And improvisers are such lame nerds.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then stand up comedians, I still have to compare them to improvisers, where I'm like, oh, these guys are like cool jocks, like as compared to improvisers at least, which shows you what improvisers are like. You're a cool jock as far as I'm concerned. Okay. You at least work out and you're like, oh yeah, cool guys. Nice.
I'm not going zip, zap, zip or whatever
all the time. Right. Yeah. So it was a huge change. I remember one time it was a huge World Series game in baseball, and I was trying to watch it, and all these improvisers were like, "Oh, are you watching the sports game?" I'm like, "Dude, it's a fucking championship. Can you, or just ignore it? Like, don't talk to me at all." But you know, you don't have to be
the whole
weird about
sports ball thing is so very cringy to me.
Yeah.
And you've seen the let people enjoy things meme.
Yeah,
I think that's the best answer to that. You know, for those unfamiliar, the comic is like, ooh, you know, it's the typical improv. Ooh, you're watching sports ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the next panel is someone just grabbing his lips and going, shh, let people enjoy things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the opposite really isn't true. I mean, you have almost like in a 80s comedy trope, you have like the jock that's like, oh, you're a theater kid, what are you, fucking gay? But I feel like the opposite is more common now.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's like, because I'm sure like most people on a fucking professional football team, for example, love watching like comedy movies and plays and whatever other like artsy things. And they don't look at like what other people do as being like stupid or like frivolous. But I feel like there's this, you know what it is people that got bullied for like a second in middle school or high school, and then they were like still not over it.
Yeah. Like, oh, that was the jocks' fault. It's like, jocks, like we're all in our 30s. Like we're not jocks anymore. We're just people who like to do certain things. And we like to watch lots of stuff, not just sports. It's one of the things we like, but yeah. I think of it in terms of like Taylor Swift is humongously famous and humongously popular, and people are obsessed with her in the same way that I've noticed people get obsessed with like the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I try to look at it that way, where I think, oh, I hate it when people give me a hard time about being really into sports, so I won't give people a hard time about being really into Taylor Swift. But I don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. She was a good singer when I was in college, and she's still a good singer, but it doesn't make any sense to me. But there's people who watching as much baseball as I do, it doesn't make sense to them. So,
dude, I do. So my relationship with sports is like I won't watch it if I'm not there live or if I'm not with my dad. Mm. So my dad makes sports fun because he knows like everything. So he could just like, rattle autistically while the game is happening, and it helps me understand it more. You know what I mean? And I get to hang out with my dad, who I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
I like him.
Good.
And live is very fun. People that say baseball is boring, I get it. But if you go to a live baseball game, it's so very fun.
Yeah.
And what I think makes a sport like popular in America, I have this theory about baseball and football, is that you don't have to like watch for very long. You know what I mean? Like if you could just like kind of eat a hot dog and talk to your friend and wait till everyone starts yelling. And then when everyone starts yelling, you look at the field.
Right. And then there's something going on.
Because I've been to a soccer game, I've been to a hockey game, I've been to a basketball game, and those are all variations of the same thing, which is people constantly like running up and down. So you sort of have to like tennis, I guess this way too, where there's this phenomenon of you looking left and looking right and looking left and looking right. And kind of if you will look away for a second, you are going to miss something. So baseball and football is you kind of relax a little.
Yeah. There's scheduled moments of downtime in both those sports. Yeah, I think of people who think baseball is boring as being big idiots. I think that they're big dum-dums.
Big dum-dums.
They just don't get it. It's a little bit more complicated of a sport than some of the other ones. Because like you said, they're all goal oriented.
Yeah.
Literally. Mm-hmm. Like where it's you go this way for a goal, you go that way for a goal, and you just go back and forth. It's particularly the other popular team sports in America. Whereas baseball is a different thing. But it does come from cricket, which is mostly goal oriented because it's you hit it and then you run forward and then you run back. So it's kind of, that was just a slight variation on the soccer and lacrosse mentality of you just go back and forth. So I'm trying to be like your dad and explain some things to you.
Yeah, I love that, dude. I played cricket one time with my because I lived. This is gonna sound random, but I lived in Prague, and while I lived in Prague, I had a roommate from India. And there was a little Indian expat community in Prague. And he was like, you should play cricket with us. And I was like, I'm never going to have this opportunity again to play cricket with people. So I tried it and it was fun. I didn't quite understand the rules.
Yeah.
And also there's this weird thing where like all the Indian guys spoke English, but they preferred not to, which I found strange.
Yeah.
Like, so I was kind of like in the dark for a lot of it, but
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's an excuse to run. And I think that's important for Americans, is to find an excuse to run so we don't all die from fatty liver disease in our 50s. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think of it, I think in terms of when's the next time I'm going to be athletic, like and for that reason, like a sedentary lifestyle is not good.
So I came to fitness. What a funny way to put that.
Sometimes
I can, ooh, some girls on Instagram.
Yeah, like we're lifting weights. Yeah.
A muscle mommy. Any muscle mommies up there, please DM me. Uh-huh. Or any kind of mommy.
Right. Or any kind of muscle.
Yeah. Any kind. Just DM me. I'm very lonely.
Just say hi.
So I got introduced to fitness in my 20s, and which is strength training, and it's really the only way I walk a lot and I do strength training, and this that's my relationship to physical activity. I wish that I had that someone explained to me when I was younger, like high school. Because high school, I was fully into like, I'm a guy that reads books and I'm a guy that's interested in the arts. And just that whole being physical thing is not for me. And it was based on the idea that like I have bad eyesight and I'm fairly clumsy. And I was like, well, there's no room for me in the world of physical activity if I'm blind and clumsy. And then when I like started strength training, I was like, oh, you have to see well enough to like look at your own form. And you could be clumsy as shit. It doesn't matter.
it'll also make you probably a little less clumsy as you start to get used to your body because you're exercising more.
Now, and I was very surprised to learn, because you're kind of buff. We could call this episode the Buff Boys, maybe.
Sure,
but,
yeah. The Buff Boys podcast.
Buff Boys, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'll think about it. But you don't go to the gym.
No. I don't have a gym. Not every so often over the course of my life, I've had gym memberships, and it's usually for a specific reason.
Okay.
Like I train for triathlons here and there, and so I will get a gym membership that has to a gym that has a pool.
Okay.
So in order to swim, because there's no real way to swim other than. Even if you have a friend who you're really close to, imagine if you went and swam laps in their pool. They'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude?" It's like I invited you over to hang out, and you're just swimming laps. So it's hard to find a place to swim laps. So I'll get a gym membership, and that's pretty rare. That I do that. And I work with my hands. I do moving jobs, and so I go up and downstairs. I also have my own kind of at home stuff. So I have a pull-up bar, upper body. All you need is a pull-up bar.
Okay.
That's my belief anyway. And it works out. It works out your entire arm, and even works out your core a decent amount. Your chest, it's probably more of like the middle of your chest, as opposed to if you wanted a little bit more of a push, which is how you work your chest is by pushing. So it's not going to work out your chest incredibly. It's probably going to work out your chest in the same way that a swimmer might work out their chest and be like kind of ropey. And then I have a stationary bike, and I do some sit-ups, and I'll do push-ups, and so it's all at home these days. And also my job, my day job is heavy lifting.
Yeah. But I've seen you on comedy shows where you do a lot of the heavy lifting too.
Oh yeah.
In that you're carrying the other comedians.
Yeah, I've noticed that myself.
You didn't want to bring it up yourself, so
Right.
you let me bring it up.
That's why I brought up heavy lifting, though. I was hoping that you'd bring that up.
So you've done triathlons?
Yeah.
Walk me through what a triathlon is like.
I can't walk you through it. You'd have to run, bike, and swim through it. Hey-o. Yeah. So I've only done a sprint triathlon, which is a little bit shorter version of it. And so the version I did was you swim first, you bike second, and then you run third. Okay. Which I found funny when I heard the order a little bit, because they're like, oh yeah, it makes sense that the swimming's first so that you don't drown. Because you don't want people to be a little bit more tired. Right. Because if you did running then biking, and then you're like swimming when you're already like kind of worn out, and then a bunch of people are just like fall into the water.
Which would be bad press.
Yeah. So they kind of do it as the hardest first and the second hardest, then the easiest, which is running. Okay. So it goes swimming, biking, running. And the swim for the sprint triathlon is about a quarter mile, which is longer than it sounds. And I'm sure anyone who's swam even just 2 laps thinks, no, a quarter mile is really long. Yeah. And then the bike is 12 miles. And this is just a sprint triathlon. And then the run is a 5K, so 3.1 miles.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the idea being that all of them are probably the equivalent to a 5K, just within their own thing.
The swimming is like the only one that I'm such a weak swimmer, honestly. Yeah. I don't think I'd be comfortable participating just because of that.
Yeah. I've done 2 of them, and that's the part that you and even if you think like, oh, I'm a pretty good swimmer, and then you get into the training part of it and you do like 10 laps even, and you're like dizzy, and you're like, whoa, it's hard. Swimming is really hard because there's no break. Whereas biking, you can kind of coast, you let the bike roll, and just keep yourself balanced. And then running, even you can kind of jog and like slow down a little bit. Yeah. Swimming, even if you slow down and tread water, if anything, that's harder. To just stay in place. So the swimming part is definitely the hardest part. Where I went against, me and my friend did it the first time I ever did it, and he was much better than me at the biking and the running. He's like a great cardio level athlete, but I beat him on the swim just because it's totally different. Like he just couldn't quite do it as well as I did, which I beat him by maybe like a second. But I did actually beat him there, even though he's just a great athlete. So yeah, swimming's different, right? Swimming's tough.
Swimming is difficult. The whole triathlon that you describe sounds difficult. What is the
Yeah.
motivation? Is it, do you like pushing yourself physically and seeing like,
Yeah.
what can you accomplish or?
So my brother had done it. So that was a big drive in why I did it to begin with. And then from there, what it ended up accomplishing was I was 26 when I did it the first time, and it like turned my body perfect. I felt like, oh, I don't feel pain anymore. You know, it absolutely just like, especially swimming, for me, just kind of tightens all the loose screws and stuff. And you know, if a muscle feels like it's kind of pulled, it just unpulls it, and so it's pretty incredible. So, and then really, but all of them together, yeah, just it also I remember the times I've trained for triathlons. I went to the doctor once while training for a triathlon, and he checked my pulse, and he's like, you must be very healthy to have a pulse that low. Like,
Ooh.
so like it lowers your pulse. So it just makes everything just run more efficiently in one's body.
Yeah, I think you're very lucky. Anybody is very lucky if they could discover a passion that also makes them healthier.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that you could get into that are either neutral or detrimental to your health.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you could like fall in love with physical activity, I hate cardio so much.
Yeah, me too. I hate running.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
So that would always be the thing that I would do the least in the training stages. And then the times that I did run the races, the swimming and the biking would turn my body into such a perfect machine that the running didn't suck as much, because I just felt so awesome. But I hate running. I hate it.
Yeah.
Biking I actually really like, because it's loose. You're moving fast. It's like, ooh, this is fast. The air is hitting you fast. Whereas running is like, I have to put in all the propulsion into making myself go fast. I like sprinting. I like running in a sport, but like jogging, I hate that shit.
Yeah, cycling is like being part of a very successful company.
Yeah.
And then like running is being in charge of the whole thing yourself.
Yeah, you own the business.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if that analogy makes sense.
No, it does. It does.
'Cause
yeah. No, yeah. And then swimming is harder than both, but technically it's like very low impact. So So I guess I don't know what the analogy for that is. It's like being a gay homo, I think.
Being a gay homo, possibly.
Yeah.
I heard that swimming is the best. Like if you want a six pack, you should just start swimming.
Yeah.
So I'm vain enough that might convince me to start swimming.
Yeah. It's also a full body workout where you don't have to do anything else. Like if you're doing laps, you literally don't have to do a single thing else. Whereas I was talking about pull-ups are great for upper body. You still need to like go for walks and stuff and like work out your legs to some degree. Swimming, you don't have to do anything else. Like if you're swimming, then just swim. That's all you have to do.
And the simplicity of that is very attractive to me because I used to have a pull-up bar at home. I've always gone to the gym, but a pull-up bar, well, during COVID, I got one. And then it was always helpful to have almost like break glass in case of emergency. Like if I'm like, oh, I can't get to the gym today, at least I can do some pull-ups or chin-ups or whatever. I prefer doing chin-ups because I could do more of them.
Yeah.
But now I have a new apartment where the doorway isn't conducive to a pull-up bar. So I just have a pull-up bar in my house that I can't use.
Right.
And so I started doing pull-ups at the gym again, pull-ups, chin-ups. And because the placement of the hands, like, because I go to Planet Fitness, they're like a little wider. I could do like half the amount I could do at a door frame pull-up bar. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I mean, intellectually, I know like I'm doing the same movements and my body is like letting me do as many as I could do. So it's from a hypertrophy standpoint, it's the same, but it makes me sad that it's not as many.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you're using different muscles. Cause you're using like probably like more of your chest and stuff. Like, I don't know, like just different muscles.
And I got weak chests. I got a slightly below mid chest, awful shoulders. The listeners already know this. And dare I say a pretty strong back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So, but
yeah, chest is also How would you work out your chest? What is your go-to?
So, this is gonna get comments, Patrick. I think anytime you say like what your like split is or whatever, people are like wrong.
Yeah,
everyone turns into Donald Trump when you say how you work out. They're like wrong.
Yeah,
it doesn't work. So I have a 4-day split, and day one of that is biceps, chest, and I do abs every day because of my vanity.
Sure,
but so biceps and chest I do together. So like for biceps, I'll do curls, I'll do chin ups. And then for chest, I do the pectoral fly machine and the chest, like the chest press, the machine, the chest press.
Yeah.
And then I don't do this on purpose, but I usually do push-ups at the end of my workout because I could do push-ups at any time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I always try to get like the machines when they're free because I don't know when they're going to be free again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do so at the very end of my chest workout. I do push-ups to failure, which is usually like late 20s to early 30s.
Okay, but in one set.
In one set.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I used to do like sets of 12 until I couldn't do 12 anymore with minute breaks in between. I don't know which is better.
Well, the 12 would probably get you to more overall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You were probably doing like a lot, like right?
Yeah, I might start doing that again.
Yeah. It's also, it keeps you at the gym a little bit longer, which is nice. It's like social. Right?
Yeah. Although I don't do more than an hour and a half.
Right.
My understanding based on the lay research that I've done is that like 45, less than 45 is not enough, and more than an hour and a half is overkill.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fair. Mm-hmm. I think hour and a half is actually good. That sounds like a good workout. There'll be times when I did have gym memberships that I had an idea of what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I'd get there, I'd do it, and I'd realize it's been 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit. Like, I guess I'll stay, but I really have already done what I wanted to do at the gym.
It's better to be on that end of the spectrum than to kind of dilly dally, but be like, well, I was there for an hour or an hour and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause I do see, like people that chit chat. Oh my God. People that chit chat at the bench. Yikes, dude.
Can't do that.
I know. I mean, I went to because I have a friend that's like really into fitness, has been for a while, and I always want to shadow people like that when I go myself. So we went to the bench, but I'm glad he and I were on the same page. We were very much like he'd go, then I'd go, then he'd go, then I'd go, and we both did 4 sets, and then we left.
Yeah.
So we were there for like less than 10 minutes. And anytime someone's at a machine for like longer than, I don't know, maybe 12 minutes, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did you come for just this machine? Yeah.
Well, and then also if there's a powerlifting looking dude, like, I don't mean to be mean, but if he's like bald and fat, I'm like, that guy's going to be there for a half hour because he's doing his 1 rep max where he rests for 5 to 7 minutes in between.
Yeah.
But will be mean if you want to work in with him.
Yeah. On a machine even?
I'm sorry. Like
this is usually on a bench.
On a bench.
On
yeah.
a bench. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I respect the shit out. I almost like that they have like, because to me, I've said this on the podcast before. I'm a hypertrophy Harry. It's all for vanity. Curls for the girls. You know what I mean? And then if I get strong in the process, that's nice too, I guess.
Right.
You know. Whereas these guys are like, I am lifting so much to like the detriment of my health and the way I look. Like those guys are usually like they have like big pot bellies and like old faces.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, hey, they could lift fucking 400 pounds or something crazy like that. Like that is very cool.
Well, and to go back to me not having a gym membership, every time I do have a gym membership, my traps get gigantic, and I'm just like, it's immediate that I'm just too big that I just don't like it. You know, I prefer doing cardio and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because especially with my line of work, the muscle build is kind of going to happen naturally. So everything else is what I want to keep. I want to keep loose and kind of mobile.
See, you've referenced that a few times that your day job is physical and that keeps you in good physical shape. But I feel like I've watched like construction workers, for example, and they usually fit into like either like meth head skinny or like very overweight.
Right.
So
that's fair.
So
yeah, well,
that's probably.
I guess I do use it. I do utilize it at times for one thing, but there's probably more to it than that. But I do moving jobs, so I a lot of stairs. So it is actually a lot of cardio on top of everything else. And I actually will like run up the stairs and get myself like a little bit of a heart
Which you
rate
don't
worked
have
up.
to do. You don't have to.
I don't have to do that. For one thing, I want to get out of there. I hate working.
Yeah.
So I want to leave. So I try to, keep it moving, especially I like keeping it moving that way. When I do get tired and it's a little slower, the thought process is, well, he's like, he already got to this point. So it's okay that he's moving a little bit slower now. So it's either, I kind of don't have a middle ground. It's either it's 0 or 100, where if I go 100 the whole time, then at least it'll just be done. If I'm thinking, oh, I'll go like half strength, then eventually it's just going to go to a like sputter to a halt. In terms of that.
What's your relationship like with food? Because I think of somebody that's like takes good care of their body, also like is dialed in to some extent with nutrition.
Yeah. Well, my fiance now, I recently got engaged.
I did not know that.
Did you not know that?
Congratulations. That's amazing.
There's a whole post about it on my Instagram.
Oh my God, guys, I should have done my research. I should have been looking at your Instagram the morning of you being a guest. Oh my God, congratulations. It's amazing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I'm engaged, and she is a chef. Like a really good chef, and also like she likes cooking. So even at home, she cooks stuff up. A lot of times it'll be practice for something else that she's doing. Yeah, but she enjoys it, and so it's a lot of really good stuff, and it is also a lot of stuff. So and it's delicious. I remember this one time when we first started dating. I picked her up from work, and she had this sushi roll that she made, this hand sushi roll that she made. And I had already eaten like 3 dinners by then. And so I was like, I'm not hungry like at all, but I don't want to not eat this. Like, sure. I don't want to be rude. So I took a bite out of it. I was like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever eaten. And I ate the whole thing because it was so good that I didn't have to be hungry in order to eat it. So I eat a lot. I have gained weight since dating this, since being with this lady. So, but I try to like offset it with I try to do intermittent fasting as much as I can, and I don't know, I just eventually I'm just gonna get fat. I think that's I think that's just eventually it's not going, it's trending upwards. It's trending upwards for sure, my weight. But I work out, I have a physical job. Even comedy is actually great for staying in shape, or at least it can be. Yeah. Because there's a lot of walking and like going from spot to spot, and like just a lot of early mornings with our day jobs, and then late nights with that. So it's a lot of like movement, and it's a lot of activity. Yeah. It's hard to live a sedentary lifestyle as a comedian. Yeah. It's possible. Obviously there's plenty of fat asses out there, but yeah, it just seems like it lends itself well to being in decent shape, at least.
I think the only caveat I would add is like, if you are someone that moves around a lot, you might, there's the thing that I've done in the past is you're like, well, I walked for 20 minutes, so therefore I could eat this pizza. Where if you sat down and actually crunched the numbers, you're like, well, that's more calories in than out then. Yeah. But like in your brain, you're like, well, I feel like I deserve something for all this physical activity I've done.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. No, that's a good point. And actually, and to go against my point, I actually am able to eat better if I'm not doing anything. Okay. If I'm just at home, like sitting and like being calm and like almost meditative. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I don't need to eat. Like I'll just not eat for a while. I don't have to, I'm not hungry, so I just won't eat yet. But then if I have something to do, I'm like, I should just eat like 3 Big Macs. Yeah. Like
I have to carbo load before I do my spot. Right.
I need the energy, Yeah. So definitely it can have that effect as well. But I do my best. There was an episode of Simpsons I watched recently where Homer talks about yo-yo dieting, where he won't just let himself get humongous and fat. He'll go down and then eventually probably right back up, and then down and then up. And it actually spoke to me spiritually. I'm like, okay, I won't just let it go. It'll go, but I'm not going to let it go. you
Yeah.
know? So I think that's fair.
Yeah, as long as you don't. I mean, that the yo-yo dieting is like better than the alternative, which is like the yo-yo keeps going in one direction. The yo-yo breaks off the string and falls onto the street and gets hit by a bus.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Filled with pastries. Yeah.
Well, for a while, because I think some of the listeners know this. Like in my mid-20s, I was overweight and towards the end obese, mostly because of my alcoholism. Because alcoholism just doesn't like. I was saying like construction workers are either real thin or overweight. I feel like alcoholics are the same way.
Yeah.
They're either real thin or like they got a nice Homer Simpson belly. Yeah, and I had the Homer Simpson belly, dude. I've shown people actually because I was 5'6" and 190, which is a BMI of 31, which is just over. I just made obese. You know what I mean? And I had
And by the way, this is the best you've looked. You look great.
Yeah, thank you. I
look
was
strong,
fishing for a compliment.
Yeah. But it's true. It's true though. You're like, it's upward. It's upward and onward and upward.
I do feel like I am inching closer to that happy median between like leanness and being muscular. Because if you're too lean without muscularity, you kind of look sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, people know if you don't have the requisite muscle and you're very not lean, you can kind of see it in your face. Like I had this puffy alcoholic face when I was heavy. And then I lost a bunch of weight right away, but I feel like I just went from having like puffy alcoholic face to like gaunt, almost like Skinny Pete from Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think also I have like a haircut that I think looks better. It's
a good haircut.
I shaved my head for like a long time.
And you got that. And I know you have a bit about this about your neck, but right? don't you?
Are you gonna compliment my neck, dude?
Yeah. Because I am actually gonna compliment your neck because you have like it shows just the perfect amount. Like you have your neck and then you have like the trap and it's just the perfect amount of trap is showing past your neck.
Okay, so Pat is referencing because I don't know if I've put this on YouTube yet. I don't think I have that. I have a bit.
I have on my YouTube.
Oh, you? Hell yeah, dude. I have a bit because I did do neck exercises specifically because there's this YouTuber Jeff Nippard who's very good. He's like a science nerd, but also like a bodybuilder. He says a natural bodybuilder. I'm inclined to believe them, although that's controversial. But he has this bit about. I have a bit about a video that he has about getting a bigger neck. And there's this idea that the wider your neck is, the more masculine your body looks and your face looks, right? And the way you do it is you lay down on a bench and you put a weight. You don't go to failure because you'll break your neck. But you lay down on a bench and you put the weight on your forehead and then you put your head down and you go up and down. And you just do 12 reps of that, very lightweight, again, not to failure.
Yeah.
And it'll make your neck bigger or wider. And I don't know if it truly works, Pat, because I did it for like, I think a few weeks. And I have this rule that if I hurt my lower back, whatever I was doing when my lower back started hurting, that exercise is cut from my life forever.
Yeah.
Because I'm so terrified. Because you hurt your back. It's not like you hurt your hand. You're like, well, I'll use the other hand.
Right.
Like your back's like central and it affects everything else, you know? And there would be nothing sillier, I think, than like going so hard at the gym that I can't go to the gym anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for some reason I've never thrown out my back, but I started getting back spasms, and it could be a coincidence, but I started getting back spasms when I incorporated the neck hypertrophy program into my workout. So that's gone forever, but I have done more shoulder exercises. And I think like, cause the traps are right between the neck and the shoulders.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
Yeah. Well, and that's, I used to do neck workouts and then I was like, why am I doing neck workouts? You know, I don't even know if the muscle really works that way. You know, it's like, yeah, your eyes are muscles, like, but it doesn't mean that you can work them out, you know, like, so I'm not sold on this actually being a possible thing. The way people make their necks look huge is their traps. Like they have like these muscles here just get gigantic, and it's probably connected to some degree, but then so quickly it becomes just veins and like throat areas.
Oh,
Like,
dude,
there's
if I
really
had-
not really muscle.
If I had a neck vein,
Yeah,
goddamn,
that's what you
that's
want.
so cool, dude. I would love to
Yeah.
have a neck vein. You look, by the way, because I always wore a beanie when I
Yeah.
did it, because otherwise you'll just get like this circle around your, especially because I have very sensitive skin. I would just have this like weight circle around my forehead.
Yeah.
Like I was doing an interpretation of like the dot that Indian women get, which isn't the vibe I was going for. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Not anymore anyway.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Halloween is over, but so I would put a beanie on,
Yeah.
but then I'd have to remember to have the beanie. So usually I would
Yeah.
just wear the beanie during my exercise, but then I was like, this makes me look bald. I'm wearing a beanie at the gym. All of this sort of crazy mental stuff going on. So
Yeah, yeah.
eventually, I hurt my back, but I was like, I'm not going to. Have you participated in any fitness fads? Because you seem kind of dialed into just like, I like being active and I like being healthy and I like having fun.
Right. Yeah. I like, what are some fitness fads? I guess I guess I would
working out your
answer.
neck,
I
I
guess I would
guess.
answer the question. Maybe a little bit when I was in high school, because I was on the wrestling team, and at that there was like a period of time when I said I want to get like big. I want to get really strong, and I was taking protein powder, so I guess that would actually fall into that.
Oh, I love
category.
protein powder.
Yeah.
You don't take protein powder?
No.
Oh my goodness.
no. I just eat a lot.
Yeah.
I just eat a lot of food.
You ever
Yeah.
take creatine?
No, creatine always registered as that next level up.
Okay.
That like football players in my high school took creatine, and that was the one where it's like that's what you do when you want to be really big, when you want to be like brolic, like you want to be really big. And I started so I did protein for a period of time. Again, with that in mind, like creatine being that next level up, protein is something where like, oh yeah, protein that's in beef. Like I can eat protein.
Sure.
I got huge off protein. Like if I just am doing protein and working out on it, for one thing, it doesn't hurt as much. Like your aches and pains don't happen as much.
Yeah.
And also I was just getting gigantic. Like
Yeah.
immediately. My freshman year of college, I don't have it anymore, but the ID photo is just me like,
Hell yeah, dude.
yeah, by accident, like totally, like whoa, like I looked even at the time, like whoa, I didn't know I was jacked, and, I was I was a meathead for a period of time,
Yeah.
totally by accident, like just because I was like, oh yeah, I want to be strong so that I can push shit, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, because I went to a big football high school, I wonder how many guys were on gear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I guess that's even the actual next level, right? Is gear a steroid or not? Quite?
Yeah, that's just like internet slang for like any type of like helper.
Yeah,
Any
yeah,
type
yeah.
of vitamin S that you're using.
Right.
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah. Because I there were guys in my high school for sure that were on steroids. Like, yeah.
Which so I'm not like super educated about steroids, but I've heard like even to start using them before 25 is like useless. Like it's silly.
Oh
Like
yeah.
steroids, it's really for like, all right, you're done growing. Would you like to continue growing?
Yeah.
And especially, I think if you're like a high school athlete, like you're probably new to lifting. You're probably still getting newbie gains if you're 15 or 16. Because like, what's the youngest people start lifting? Like 13, 14, if their dad's like really into it,
Right.
maybe.
Uh-huh.
But I wouldn't do steroids. But I don't not get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially when because I've like delved into, all right, once you're an intermediate lifter, how much muscle can you gain? And once you're an advanced lifter, how much muscle can you gain? And these, by the way, these numbers are approximate. I mean, Patrick and I are both doctors, of course, but that's probably going to get us flagged on Spotify, dude.
We are doctors. That's right.
But if you've been lifting for like more than 7 years, you could continue lifting to maintain what you have and maybe get like under a pound of muscle a year. So I get if you're like, especially if if you're unfortunate enough to have like body dysmorphia and you're like, that's not enough. I got to keep growing. You know what I mean?
Well, like HGH is something that I definitely understand. My shoulder hurts. Like I just want, it would be great if my shoulder stopped hurting. And you talk about like things like that. working out and just living your life and like lifting a box that needs to be put into your apartment or something like that, it like starts to wear on you.
Yeah.
And if you use some of this stuff, like I've heard that they say like, oh yeah, the aches and pains I used to have don't exist anymore.
Back to normal. And there's a psychological aspect to, like, my dad is 66. And we were at the Giant game, actually, the one on New Year's Eve. First time I went to an NFL game.
Cool.
It was very fun. But he for whatever reason, the seats above us had nobody in. And rather than making everyone like stand up so we could get by, he was like, I'm going to climb over the seat and then that'll be easier for me and everyone around me.
Right.
But he climbed over the seat like a 66-year-old. Which is fine because he's 66.
Yeah.
And he came back and he was like, how sad was that to see? And I'm like, it's fine. You're old.
Yeah.
But I think some people hate getting old, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not like a profound thought, but I do know other people in my life that are almost like, and this could be just an optimism, pessimism thing, but some people are like, I'm fucking old. Whatever. What are you going to do? It happens to everybody. And some people, it really bothers them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think of it in terms of, as we're in our 30s. So there are times that I'll just have like my leg is in pain.
Yeah.
And it's like moving weird and I have to walk weird because of it. Or like like I said, my shoulder gives me a hard time a lot. And I just feel like, but I can get it away fairly easily still. I've just assumed that those things just won't go away or certainly not often, it's just like, oh yeah, that's just constant now. Like once you hit a certain age, it's just all the time that you're feeling that. And the same thing with kind of feeling like tired and like maybe even like a little sick. Like I assume that's just probably what it feels like a lot of the time.
Dude, not even talking about dementia, but just like being like a little less cognitively there. Like the idea of that like really annoys me. Yeah. Because I always feel like I'm fucking on running on E a lot of the time cognitively because like all the different things that I got going on, and I'm like, fuck, like 23-year-old Bobby could probably, like if I had 33-year-old wisdom with 23-year-old cognitive ability, I'd be like unstoppable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just not how life works.
Yeah. There was a prime that I definitely felt in like my mid 20s where those two things kind of coincided to a pretty high degree.
Yeah.
Where like I had some good solid wisdom on top of being like still a superhuman, like like a young man. And obviously I'm still a young man, but yeah, like there was that point where they met, where they met at it's your prime. You are people have different primes, but I physically, it's like, ooh, I'm not there. I'm not in my prime anymore.
Yeah.
I'm still all right, but I'm not in my prime anymore. Yeah.
So, do you have a morning routine?
Do I have a morning routine? Yes, I do actually. I take baths a lot in the morning.
You take baths?
I take a lot of baths,
dude.
I try. There's times where I take 2 baths in a day.
That's fascinating to me. I don't know if I've taken a bath as an adult.
Yeah,
I think the last time I took a bath was when my mom made me as a child.
Yeah. Well, I soak. I like I said, I have like a lot of aches and pains.
Okay.
And it takes them away. Like,
really?
If I don't do it, I'm like, like it's like really, I feel really stiff.
So you're not a shower guy?
I also shower. So I shower, I clean myself. Then I take a bath just to soak and like let my muscles like ease. And then I shower again, soap up again to get the gross bath water off me. And
this is something you do every day.
Yeah. At least
shower,
once.
take a bath.
Yeah.
Take a post-bath shower.
Yeah. And then I feel great. And then I can do whatever I got to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It kind of, I'll even say to my fiance, I'll be like, let me go. Like, all right, I can do all those things you want to do today, but I gotta like take a bath, like, because it just makes me feel like, oh yeah, now I can do it. I also have a massage gun.
Okay.
That I use.
You used to masturbate.
Ow, 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 ow. It's like it does like that. Like, imagine. Oh, damn it.
Just punching herself in the dick repeatedly.
Oh, it's only bad. Yeah. It doesn't feel sexually positive at all. But yeah, I do that. Yes. I do masturbate with it. No, but so I have the massage gun, and that I see pro athletes using it, and it kind of wakes up muscles and kind of releases like I guess like if there's like a bad thing here, there's always gonna be bad stuff. You just want it to go, spread out. Don't be in this one area. So it kind of like spreads out some of the, like what the acid. What is that acid? The lactic acids and stuff and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, the massage gun is a good thing in the morning to go back to the morning specifically. And really it's just waking my body up is my morning routine and kind of, I need to brush my teeth in the morning. Do you brush your teeth every morning?
Dude, I am astounded that some people brush their teeth once a day.
Yeah.
I have a friend that brushes their teeth at night before they go to bed. And I'm like, in the morning? And they're like, no.
Yeah. So if anything, I'm the opposite. The morning, I'm like, I gotta brush my teeth.
I have such bad morning breath.
Yeah.
And it's not self-diagnosed. I've had partners tell me as such too.
Sure.
Like, you have to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Like
I'll wake
away.
up and my mouth is like in pain because of just like the dry nastiness that has happened over the course of the night.
I think I have so I know that I drool when I sleep, and I know also so I don't grind my teeth when I sleep, but apparently, of course I'm not conscious while I'm doing it, but apparently I make this like smacking sound in my sleep. I go like I'm chewing on peanut butter. I have no idea what that's about.
Yeah.
I've told my dentist about this, and they're like, I've never heard of that before. You're just like a fucking weirdo. But like I'm super susceptible to cavities, so I almost have to be vigilant. Like I have this whole routine when I first wake up and before I go to bed is that I do mouthwash for a minute. I do interdental brushes, which are basically like pipe cleaners, and I bring them through each individual tooth, and then I have floss.
Yeah.
And then I have a electric toothbrush that I do for 3 minutes. So it's like a process. Like I'll tell my roommates, like I'm going to brush as if I'm taking a shower. I'm like, I'm going to brush my teeth right now. Do you need to pee before I brush my teeth?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm just like, I've had like so many dental issues. And I'm like, I can't fucking like, that's the worst thing. Like, even if you're blessed with like, I don't know, get great like teeth genetics, take care of your teeth. Maybe not to the extent that I do, but like brush twice a day.
Yeah.
Because you can actually be an old person with all their teeth. They exist. Yeah. It's rare, it's almost like you can be an old person that like maybe not does the triathlon you described, but you can do like physical activities.
Like chewing.
You could chew. You could chew as an old man or an old woman. You could do it.
You could do it.
So if you are taking showers and if you're doing the bath sandwich with 2 showers being the bread, then you must leave a lot of time in the morning before you have to go somewhere.
Yeah, I usually do. And I even brush my teeth in the shower. So the first shower.
Okay.
So I do the
shower number 1.
Shower number 1, I brush my teeth. And if it's before a show that I'm doing the shower, I'll put my contacts in also in the first shower.
Okay.
To get ready for a show. And I'll brush my teeth. And then once I am done, so I'll soap up, brush my teeth, obviously rinse off the soap. And then once everything's down the drain, like all the spit, all the toothpaste spit, then I'll do a bath and I'll do this. Then I'll do the next shower. I do have to give myself a good amount of time, but not the bath isn't like playing with a rubber ducky and I let it fill up to the point where I can put my head under. Because I need to also I need to soothe my face as well. So I do it just deep enough so I can get my face under, come back up, let it drain. And then, so it's as this process goes, it's fairly quick. Okay. It's like a half hour. Okay. The whole process is a half hour, which is obviously a long time to need to bathe every day. But that's not that long considering what I described as what I do.
You're very efficient. And I love this because the vibe up until right now was like, cause I'm very like, I have this 4-day workout split. I calculate all my calories, and so I'm very like meticulous in this. People have described it as like almost OCD. I don't think it is, but I will take the criticism. And you're like, I just like working out. I don't. I eat what my fiance cooks for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, he's got it all figured out.
Yeah.
Then when I heard about the shower sandwich,
It's fair. Yeah. Well, and to that point, recovery is something that I am like huge into, and like do my best to keep really stringent. Like I have a schedule for my recovery, because two things. One, it's my lifestyle has something to do with it. Also, I think it's just my body composition. It just gets like tight. Like everything just starts to like ache a lot. So I have to, and I really always have liked being flexible, like literally physically flexible and like loose and stuff. So I go big into recovery. And I've described it as a person who works like manual labor. I feel like an athlete in the sense that what you hear about them having to take like ice baths, and really every day they go to the trainer to like loosen up their body and stuff. I'm like, oh, I should do that too, because that's how much of a beating my body takes.
Probably even like a white collar worker, like because there's some damage that your body takes just from being out in the world.
Yeah.
Even, I don't know, even if you work from home, it's like you sleep funny. You wake up and you're sore and you're like, oh, slept wrong. Like maybe I should think about that. But I think the idea of thinking of recovery is very smart, because I think a lot of people don't sleep enough. I don't know. What's your relationship like to sleep?
I try to get my Z's for sure. And then I'll, I want to work hard. So I want to, with what I do, it's like handyman work. So it's gig economy on top of our gig economy, dreams. Yeah. And it's, so it's a lot of like, whenever I can get work, I just do it. Right. Like, so if I have a gig in comedy that ends at midnight, and I'm not home until 1:30 in the morning, and then I get hired for a handyman gig at 8:30 in the morning, I'm like, I got to do it.
You got to do it.
I got to do it. So I wake up and go do it. A lot of times they're shorter jobs, so I can get home and like and rest during the day. But rest is big. Rest is big in general, and sleep. I'll set out a day where I'm going to sleep like 14 hours.
Yeah,
like today, and really like. There was one day recently, actually, it was like it was in the middle of the weird time between Christmas and New Year's, where I was working a lot. I worked like every day in between those 2 days. But there was one day I had off, and I barely got off the couch. Like I made it so that I was just like, no, you just have to sit. Like if you don't sit, it's gonna be a problem. So you have to just sit for like half the day at least. You can go grab something to eat, sit down, and then and eat it, but you have to really relax. And I think that's great, like to listen to your own body and allow you, even though like a lot of people in our field are like very driven and very go, you do have to like take a moment and relax, just to give your body a break and to give your mind a break. Yeah. Well, and if you're driven enough, then that shouldn't be a problem. Then that day that you have off, you think, I just did a huge show yesterday. I'll do 2 mics. I'll do a mic tomorrow, mic the next day. I have another big show the day after that. And then, so if you're driven enough in doing the stuff that you're doing, like it's when you're kind of wishy-washy with the stuff that you do want to do that you think, I can't take a break. I haven't even done what I got to do. Like, but on my break days, I'm thinking I've done a lot. I think I've done everything I needed to do this week. So if you have, then those rest days feel like they're just as important as any other day.
So Patrick, if people are interested in getting into the bath shower routine, and they want to maybe DM you about it, how would they do so?
Patrick Haggerty Comedy is my Instagram. So that's how they would DM me. And actually, speaking of fitness, on my YouTube channel, I'm doing a push-up a day +1 every day for the whole year.
Okay.
So it's 1 on the first, 2 on the second, 3 on the so by December 31st I'll do 365 push-ups
in a row.
In whatever amalgamation of a row that I can do it.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
okay.
so every day I'll be doing that days of the year's worth of push-ups.
So if people want to encourage and or bully you during this process, how can they find you on YouTube?
Patrick Haggerty is my YouTube handle. So yeah, go check me out.
Hell yeah, dude. Check him out on Instagram. Check him out on YouTube. Encourage him to do as many push-ups as his body can handle. And remember, folks, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'm just playing Night Owls. You know I love you.